Welcome, Amudar Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special interview on NewsX. We have with us today a well-known actor, Dr. Aditi Govitrikar, who's joining us today on the broadcast. Aditi Govitrikar, welcome back to NewsX. Thank you for being with us today. Good to have you back after a hiatus.
Thank you so much, Mr. Udai Pratap Singh, and it's a pleasure being here with you.
Let me begin by just talking to you about the response to Mismatched Season 3. As I said, this is the love that always comes for you from your fans. They love all appearances that you make, of course. So once again, you were seen back on OTT in this Netflix series. How was the response for it for you?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, playing Rohit's mom and the whole uh, transition that happens from being a college student and starting to work, and then how life pans out. It's
Mhm.
been very well received, the series itself. And although I'm just there briefly in the
Yeah.
series, I got a lot of compliments. And of course, a lot of people said, "Why aren't you there more? We want to see you more on screen," which is really heartening. It feels very, very great, good.
Yes. Also, what was the initial reason that you took up this project? We are seeing, of course, how the series has, got so much of popularity from the first season. But just taking you back into memory lane a bit, what made you say yes to the project initially?
So the story was excellent when I was narrated the story, and then they asked me if I would play Rohit's mother's role.
Mhm.
It was my first Netflix series, and the
Mhm.
reason I said yes is because I had seen Rohit in The Sky is Pink, where Priyanka plays his
Yeah.
mother's role. And somewhere deep down, I felt like life has come a full circle because
Yeah.
Priyanka and I won in the same year. I won Mrs. World
Mhm.
and she won Miss World in
Mhm.
2001. And then we both played his mother's role.
Yes.
So I think that was really, really, like I said, life coming to a entire, like a circle. And it was a very interesting story. I really liked the way it was woven and the dialogues, etc. And my role was very good as well. So I said
Mhm.
yes.
Okay. How has it been for you, though, working now with Rohit Saraf, as you're saying? It's quite interesting that you and Priyanka have both played his mothers. He's a very talented actor. Uh, how has it
Yeah.
been for you working with him?
Well, it was excellent. I think on screen and off screen, he is a very, very good human being.
Hmm.
He's a great actor on screen, of course, and very, very well mannered, very polite, and great fun to be around. He's always joking around, and what really is inspiring for me, where Rohit is concerned, is that his dedication,
Hmm.
because he's so dedicated to his role and his
Yeah.
art, the art of acting, that he thinks a lot about his role. He will go to the director and say, "Oh, should I do it this way or should I do it that way?" And he
Hmm.
actually does it. So he practices a lot, he introspects a lot, and he prepares a lot, which is really nice to see.
Yes. I did read somewhere though that you don't just want to play mother's roles, and that's been perhaps one of the reasons why you're doing less projects. Uh, is that correct? Is that still happening though? The typecasting, for actors of your age, which we used to see earlier as well.
Well, in my case, it is happening, unfortunately. I have nothing against playing a mother's role, and I'm happy to play a mother's role, but I would love to explore other aspects
Hmm.
of who I am, because
Hmm.
even in real life, yes, I am a mother of two children, but I am also a doctor, I'm a psychologist, I
Hmm.
am so many other things. Similarly, on real life as well, I would like to explore that part. Maybe
Hmm.
play a negative role, maybe play a lawyer, or something different than just a
Hmm.
mother. So although, like I said, that I'm not saying no to playing mother,
Yeah.
I'm completely okay with that. But again, it's the variety, right? When you
Yeah.
get to play a different shades of human character,
True.
that gives that joy to any actor.
True, absolutely. But do you believe OTT could perhaps change that and is changing that now? You've
It
also just
certainly
done,
is.
of
It,
course,
yes,
not just Mismatched, but also before this was Life Hilgate this year itself,
yes.
on another OTT platform, Hotstar.
Yes. Yes. So yes, luckily for us actors, has changed the complete scenario. Like I was just watching Bandish Bandits, for
Hmm.
example, where Divya Datta gets to play a teacher's role.
Yes.
Where she's not playing a mother, so to
Yeah.
say, in that age bracket. So I think roles like these are very, very like they are a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. Just talking, of course, now about, as you said, the fact that you are a doctor and a psychologist, and it's not just that you got this on your name because you're an honorary doctorate. You've actually studied it and earned it yourself way back, of course. Uh, many would say, like the title of your latest series, that these are mismatched professions. Being a
Yes.
doctor and being an actor. But how have you blended the two, and how have you used your being a doctor and psychologist to your advantage through your career in public life?
Well, that's a great question. So growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor, and
Hmm.
I worked towards it because my dad told me that he's not going to give me donation. So if I wanted to be a doctor, I got to get it on my own merit. And that time we didn't have entrance exams. We pretty much got admission basis 12th standard marks.
Hmm.
So I had to work very hard in 12th standard. Um, and I got the admission, and I was very happy. But of course,
Hmm.
life had certain plans for me,
Hmm.
and I've always maintained this that you do make plans, you do set goals,
Yeah.
but keep fluidity in mind because you can't be rigid about your goals. Therefore, when this opportunity came my way, and I love challenges, so
Hmm.
I said, okay, it seems like a good challenge. And I'm an introvert, I'm a complete
Yeah.
introvert, and I was very low on confidence at that point.
Okay.
And I knew it, and I knew that somewhere deep down I had to work towards it.
Hmm.
So I said, this is a great opportunity for me. I grabbed it with both hands. And at that time, of course, I thought it would be for 1 year, but 1 year
Yeah.
has extended to now till date.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, about 8, 9 years back, I felt that I needed some intellectual stimulation
Hmm.
because I was made a majority of my time I dedicated towards ramp. So I was
Hmm.
doing a lot of ramp shows.
Hmm.
Um, so intellectually, and I love giving exams, so that's a very different
Okay.
kind of aspect where I am concerned, is that I
Yeah.
love giving exams, I love to study, I
Yeah.
love to attend classes.
Okay.
And it's been 1 year, 1.5 years since my Harvard is over, and I'm already
Yeah.
like feeling, like, okay, I need to do something now. I need to
Okay.
start doing some other education, so to say, an educational
Right.
degree. So yeah, so basically it was that, right? It was about getting mentally
Hmm.
stimulated. I went to psychology. So I
Hmm.
studied my psychology after that.
Hmm.
So when people ask me, when I do my motivational talks or
Hmm.
I'm invited to corporate workshops, that
Hmm.
mm, everybody says that stick to one thing,
Hmm.
don't jump from one boat to the other. And to which I agree. I
Hmm.
feel that multitasking is not a good idea. And it's
Yeah.
been proven scientifically
Yeah.
that don't tom the fact that you are a multitasker because it's
Okay.
not good. Similarly, what I did was whatever profession I
Yeah.
started, I made sure that I reached the top. I was the
Right.
highest paid model in our country.
Yeah.
I worked for most, I think, all A+ designers. I've
Yeah.
worked on international ramp, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my recommendation is that
Hmm.
whatever you give your 100% and then
Hmm.
move on to doing something else. Like for example, psychology. I did my
Hmm.
master's in psychology from Harvard University.
Hmm.
And then I sat down with myself and said, is psychology the only thing I want to do? Or do I want to continue acting and appearances and all? And to me, as a human being, as a person, I enjoy doing both equally. I enjoy empowering people. I enjoy appearing on stage or
Yes.
appearing in front of the camera. I said, now I've reached a level where I can take that liberty of doing both successfully
Yeah.
because as a mother, my responsibility now has reduced because children
Yeah.
have grown up.
Hmm.
4 days I'm at home and my son will say, Are you have not traveled? So I'm like, yeah, I'm traveling.
Okay.
So because that responsibility has gone down to a certain extent, I know that I have the capability of now doing both these things. And 2025 is pretty much about all that. So in fact,
Fantastic.
before our meeting, I was
Yes.
sitting down and my goals for 2025.
Ah.
And I have said that I want to do two OTT series on a big scale,
Wow.
on a like a larger role.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And where psychology is concerned, my motivational talks, my corporate
Yeah.
workshops, etc., will continue.
Okay. And is there plans for further studying another course, maybe?
Well, so there's another baby that I have, which is called Marvelous Mrs. India, which is very,
Okay.
very young right now. That's my
Okay.
endeavor. And in a way of giving back to married women of
Mm-hmm.
India, not only married, it's for divorced, widowed, separated
Mm-hmm.
women as well, that I am offering this platform. Although it
Okay.
is a beauty pageant, but it is, so to say, a masked beauty pageant because
Okay.
the journey is very well crafted. It is an empowering or transforming journey. So the minute she enrolls and she's accepted in on our
Mm-hmm.
platform, her training starts. So I do
Okay.
one-to-one sessions with her, depending in which part of her life she needs help. Because
Right.
as a human being, when you appear on a stage, whether it's a
Yeah.
beauty pageant stage or any other stage, if you have a fractured hand, you will come on stage with a fractured hand.
Mm-hmm.
So my endeavor is to heal that fractured hand so that the person is healthy, happy, and empowered as
Mm-hmm.
a soul to come on stage. So
Yeah.
plus we do a 1 month online intensive training with other mentors as well, where they are
Okay.
taught how to walk, how to do makeup, how to present themselves, even on
Okay.
Zoom, for example.
Yeah.
So these kind of things. So that is a new baby. Like I said, I've just started it,
Oh, nice.
and that needs a lot of my attention right now
Okay.
because it's like being an entrepreneur, right? And
Yeah.
an entrepreneur's journey is never easy.
Yeah.
Mm, I'm self-funded, so I don't have any funding from
Right.
outside, or I don't have a partner. Therefore, it takes a lot of my time and
Yeah.
energy. Education, I have kept it for another 2 years. I'm not going to
Yeah.
get any more degrees after my name.
Yeah.
I'm concentrating on being a successful founder.
On this new venture of yours. Fantastic. We wish you all the very best for it. What's it called? Marvelous?
Marvelous Mrs. India.
Marvelous Mrs. India. Okay, that's quite a nice name that you've kept for it. And interestingly, you were, of course, you created history by being the first Indian to win Mrs. India. And I believe you went to judge it as well in 2024. Is that correct?
Mrs. World, actually.
Mrs.
Well, I
World.
was invited as a
Mrs.
special
World, beg your
guest.
pardon. Yes, you became, of course, Mrs. India, and then you went on to win Mrs. World as well. Yes, of course, you created history doing that. And now you
Yeah.
went back to judge it. Is that correct?
I didn't judge it. I went as a special guest,
Okay.
and in fact, they've invited me again. I'm contemplating because it's a 40th year of celebration
Ah,
of
okay.
Mrs. World Pageant. So that's going to happen in January in Las Vegas. So
Right.
I'm still in two minds. Let's see. They've been very, very gracious, and they're like, no, no, all the Mrs. Worlds must
Yeah.
come, and we should have a big celebration. So
Yeah,
let's see.
that was history, because we had seen Indians win Miss World before, but not Mrs. World. And that was
Yeah.
also something path-breaking for you. As you're saying, you want, married women to also be as confident, as anyone else. And you're
Yeah.
not letting that be a barrier for you in your acting career and in your other career. And you don't want that to be a barrier, obviously, for others as well. So for you, just taking, back to Mrs. World and Mrs. India, how did that idea come for you, Aditi, at that point?
So I'm very grateful to Maureen Badia, who called me up one fine day and she said that, hey, there is this pageant called Mrs. World.
Mhm.
Would you like to go? So my first thought was, sounds interesting. Then she said
Mhm.
it's in Vegas. I said, I'm going. So, but of course, I mean, on that was on the lighter note. For
Yeah.
me, when I participate in something, I like to win. I give it my
Mhm.
100%. Of course, whether you win or not is luck, destiny, and many other factors.
Mhm.
But the journey, I give my 100%,
Mhm.
and that's what I did. And I didn't have much time. I just had like a couple of weeks to prepare
Mhm.
before going Mrs. World. So
Yeah.
Viman Trivedi made my gown, and Sheetal Design Studio helped me a lot with my outfits and all.
Right.
It helped me with workouts, and
Yeah.
Samir Purohit helped me with workouts. So in those 15 days, I pretty much packed in everything that I could do to
Yes.
prepare myself for the international pageant. And over there also, I mean, I enjoyed every moment over
Okay.
there.
Okay. And
Yeah.
created history while you did that. Now, you were also part of reality shows, of course, also, early on in your career, again, when reality shows weren't too big the way they are now. And
Yeah.
you did very well, both on Khatron Ke Khiladi and on Big Boss. Do you watch much reality TV now? Do you follow the latest seasons of Big Boss and Khatro or not really?
No, no, not really. Khatron Ke Khiladi I did follow initially, but
Okay.
lately I have not really followed. Big Boss, what happens is because my life involves a lot of travel, it
Right.
becomes difficult to keep track of what's happening. And
Yeah.
in Big Boss, you have to follow the
Yeah.
trajectory, right, of
Yeah.
every. person who's there. And if you miss it, then to watch the recording and then
Yeah.
watch, it is just a little too tedious for me. So
Yeah.
Big Boss I haven't really watched, but Khatron Ke Khiladi initial seasons I did watch.
Okay. Okay. Last couple of questions now before we let you go. One on, as you said, you were just writing your goals for 2025 before we started this interview. So, are you obviously you're someone who makes goals and likes to achieve them, but are you also a resolutions person? Have you made a New Year resolution?
New Year resolution, I would say that there's a blurry line between New Year resolution and goals. It's pretty
Okay.
much the
Yeah.
same thing. But what I do is I don't just say it randomly. I make it a very definitive goal.
Mm-hmm.
And as many details as possible is something
Mm-hmm.
that write down, because
Mm-hmm.
only then it's easy for you to break it up. And I put a end date, end goal date to it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I work backwards and I'm like, okay, every month, what am I achieving? And
Mm-hmm.
closer to date. So, like in January, I will do day-to-day planning that, okay, this
Mm-hmm.
is what I will. And I hope to stick to it. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not, but I'm
Yeah.
not so hard on myself if I don't stick to it. I'm okay because, like I
Okay.
said, that life happens and a little bit of
Yeah.
fluidity is something that we should allow ourselves and not be so tough because I'm a very big critic of myself. I'm very
Okay.
hard on myself. So,
Okay.
very consciously, I have to say it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So,
Yeah.
that's what I plan now.
Okay. And now looking back at 2024, how has the year been for you? Now when you look back at the year gone by.
Well, overall, it's been a good year. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
there have been ups and downs and
Mm-hmm.
little blips in life, but that's part of life again. But overall, yes, I did two seasons of Marvelous Mrs. India in one year.
Mm-hmm.
So Jan 2024 was my first season, and
Mm-hmm.
October 14th was my second season. So
Mm-hmm.
I managed to do two seasons, which I think is a great accomplishment, and I
Yes.
need to pat my back. It's still not sunk in, so that's why I'm saying I need to pat my
Yeah.
back to acknowledge myself for what I have achieved because
Yeah.
it was a lot of hard work
Absolutely.
putting it together
Yeah.
without a sponsor, without any backing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope that 2025, the season three becomes much bigger, better. And
Mhm.
otherwise, 2024, I didn't get any degree. So that's one. But then
Okay.
23, I got my Harvard degree. But
Yes.
24, I didn't. And 25 also, I'm not
Yes.
doing.
As you said, you're yeah on a break
Yeah.
from that from studying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going to end with a quick fire, quick
Yeah.
questions and quick responses from you. So beaches or mountains person?
Beach.
Okay. What's your favorite cuisine?
Anybody's home food. I love ghar ka khana of anybody else's also.
Okay. Favorite holiday destination?
New York.
Okay. If you could time travel back to any point, which would you like to go back?
I think I would go back to the point when I was born, and
Okay.
with the information or the knowledge I have about my own life today, I
Hmm.
would lead my life very differently.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Um, I, I, I'd have to ask you then, what would you have done differently?
Oh,
You're
everything. Oh
such a
my God,
success.
everything.
Well, you're such a success.
Well, I am, but there's so much more to do, and there's so many mistakes which I made.
Hmm.
No regrets there, Uday,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, you have to learn from the mistakes. So
Hmm.
if I know about those mistakes, I've already learned from them, so I would
Hmm.
probably make new mistakes.
Yeah. And
One
not
of the
repeat
things
the.
which is a regret, which I would definitely change, is that Yash Chopra ji was my judge for Gladrax supermodel contest,
Hmm.
and he had asked for a meeting, not a film. A lot of
Yeah.
people said they're all, no, no, no. He had
Hmm.
not because I didn't even at that point I wasn't even ready for films.
Yeah.
It was just a meeting. He said, like he told Mrs. Wadia that why don't you all come and
Hmm.
meet me? To that I had said like no, no, I don't want to because I was so nervous and I was so like,
Hmm.
oh my God, what am I even going to say? So
Yeah.
that is one regret which I would 100% change if I was
Of
really
course.
went back.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, a superpower you wish you had.
Read people's minds.
Okay.
Because even as a psychologist, I still it leaves me awestruck when I see somebody say something or do something which is so out of character or so not expected or
Hmm.
like you're like why? I mean, why would you say that or why would you
Yeah.
do that? So yeah, I would love to read people's minds.
Okay. Next question, a bit similar to your answer already that you've given. What would be your, one advice that you would give to your 18-year-old self?
Um, 18, if I had to go back and now after doing psychology and
Mm,
well as a wellness counselor,
mm,
I would definitely say get one mentor in your life
mm,
who you can go to if there is any dilemma, if you want to need, if you require advice for
mhm,
any decision that you're making. Because like I
mm,
said, that life is all about decisions. It's,
mhm,
it's like that film Run, Rula, Run. Every decision takes you to a different directions. And
mhm,
even like a small decision can pivot your life in a completely different trajectory.
mhm,
So to have a very good spiritually or holistically or psychologically developed
mhm.
mentor, I
Okay.
think that's what I would ask for. Yeah.
Okay. And final question, one performance or movie or project that you enjoyed watching this year in 2024?
In 2024, oh my God, there are so many. It's so difficult to think right now. But right now, when I'm watching Bandish Bandits, so that's fresh off the oven. So I'm
Huh.
really enjoying watching that. So Rohit and Prajakta's performances were outstanding.
Okay. So Mismatched, of course, you're staying loyal to. And also Bandish Bandits, you season two, you're enjoying. What, you enjoyed the first season also?
Oh, I loved it. I loved
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great, fantastic. Uh, we hope for much more success for you in 2025 as well, as you've already told us that you have your big project, your baby, your entrepreneurial venture that you're going to be concentrating on. So we hope for more success for that. But we do hope you achieve your goals. I'm sure your fans will be waiting for that now that you've announced it on NewsX. Two big OTT series or two big projects, rather. We want you to see you more on, of course, the big screen and, of course, the small screen. So thank you so much for joining us, Aditi Govitrikar, once again, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, then. Thank you for having me.